So, Ryonin Sukuna. Fraud. Wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. Similar to that is a person or thing intended to deceive others, typically by unjustifiably claiming or being credited with accomplishments or qualities. All of those things describe fraudulent behavior or someone to be a fraud. And all of those things do not apply to Sukuna. Now, the reason why I read off that definition, the reason why I even bring up the definition of the word fraud in the first place is because there has been a lot of slander to my glorious king of curses, who is Ryonin Sukuna. And that is the fact that he is fraudulent in his behavior, in his actions, when it comes to his more boastful machinations of his goals. Which makes no sense to me because, as we know in the story of JJK, Sukuna is, by all measures of measurements, is a villain. He is a tyrant. He is someone who is credited as the strongest, the king of curses, as of obvious notions. But the problem I have with the JJK community is that since he used Maharaga and other external means to win the fight, i.e. even just taking another vessel, i.e. that of Megumi Fushigoro's body, that is evidence of his fraudulent nature, which couldn't be any further from the truth. Again, Sukuna is a villain. He is pure evil at his finest, whether it be his true form in his Heian era or his more modernized interpretation of his true abilities. Again, Sukuna is and has been shown to use underhanded tactics to do whatever it is to be necessary to get that bag and to secure the victory, so to speak. And I think the most disingenuous part about it is the fact that, oh, Sukuna is a fraud because he's jumping, which makes no sense to me because JJK is famous for its jumping scenes in anime, using whatever underhanded tactic or quote-unquote underhanded tactic need as necessary to secure the victory in a very difficult fight against cursed spirits or cursed users in general to, of course, find a victory. Of course, even Yuta Okotsu, everyone's favorite soft boy, is a jumper using, of course, as we know, Rika to secure the victory against Geto. And again, I have no problem with jumping. I have no problem with using underhanded tactics, especially if that's within their character. It is perfectly within Sukuna's character to do these things. And of course, that's not a problem. Now, one could argue, oh, if he didn't have these things, could he have secured the victory? Now, of course, the writer Gege has alluded in Gojo's own dialogue that Gojo may have been holding back. You could argue that's terrible writing. You could argue that's whatever you want. But if characters literally confirm that being said, then I don't know what more do you want. It's a lot different from other character statements in the Gojo fight against Sukuna that says, oh, Gojo has won because this is coming out of his own mouth, Gojo himself, that he couldn't touch him even if he wanted to with his full power because he alluded that Sukuna was holding back. Now, me personally, I have no problem with this being said because obviously my glorious King Sukuna has done nothing wrong and nothing out of character. And again, jumping is literally commonplace in JJK. So the fraudulent allegations make no sense, and it's clearly a sign of butthurt Gojo fans not being able to take an L, which is funny to me because Gojo himself can take an L more humbly than his fans can, which is hilarious to me. Over the past few months, they have been doing nothing but coping with the fact that their glorious meat muncher status has been revoked because the person they have been glizzy gobbling is now deceased. Get over it and cope.
Hey yo, ain't your ass glazing right now? Bro, your grown ass over here calling this man glorious king and all that shit. Get his fingers out of your mouth, bro. Your name ain't Yuji, your name ain't Megumi.
Now, personally, am I glazing? Of course. But my glaze is warranted because even characters in the story, besides Gojo, have been doing their best to glaze my undisputed king, my king of curses, my king of chaos. That is, of course, Ryonin Sukuna, the best character next to Toji Fushiguro when it comes to JJK. Get over it, Gojo fans. He sucks. And the true fraud, of course, is Gojo. But this is not a Gojo slander video. This is, of course, a video seeking to rectify the injustice that has been put on Sukuna's name. Now, of course, him using every advantage is not fraudulent behavior. That is him being a tactical and resourceful fighter in when he is going against the quote-unquote god of the Jujutsu world, you can't exactly blame someone like Sukuna, someone who has been literally significantly nerfed, even in that fight, not even having his full capabilities on hand, but Gojo having his full enlightened abilities on hand and enhanced through up the wazoo through training. So honestly, I don't see Sukuna doing anything fraudulent here, but I would say he's doing nothing but evening the odds. Now, of course, we've seen cursed users and cursed spirit users. Now, we wouldn't call Megumi a fraud for using his 10 shadows. So why is it that when, obviously, Sukuna uses those same abilities, it is now seen as fraudulent? I do not understand this notion besides, again, coping behavior. He did these things to get the best edge against his opponent. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, hopefully, I put a lot of the Sukuna haters to bed, and obviously, I put this topic to rest. Now, of course, may God rest his soul, and obviously, God bless. May God be with us all. Peace.